Most automatic cars don't die because of age. They die because of their owners. And the worst part? You might be doing it every single day without realizing it. From the way you shift gears to what you do when stopping at traffic lights, these tiny habits are secretly destroying your car's transmission, engine, and even your wallet. Stick around, because habit 1 is something almost every driver is guilty of. Number 10. Ignoring strange sounds or warning lights. That little light on your dashboard, or that weird clicking noise, most drivers ignore them. Big mistake. Warning lights are your car's SOS signals for things like low oil pressure, overheating, or transmission issues. Strange noises, often brakes, bearings, or belts, are about to fail. Ignore them, and what could have been a $50 fix becomes a $2,000 repair. Automatic cars are even more sensitive. Delays can kill transmissions faster than those in manual transmissions. Here's the rule. If your car is talking, listen. Catching it early saves money, stress, and maybe even your life. Next, habit 9 is about pushing your car way past its breaking point. Number 9. Towing beyond the limit. Think your car can tow just a little more? Think again. Every vehicle has a towing capacity, and going past it is one of the quickest ways to fry your transmission. Overload it, and the transmission overheats, fluids break down, and gears grind themselves to death. Even if you manage to move the load, you're silently destroying your brakes, suspension, and engine. Mechanics see this all the time. Half the rebuilds they do come from cars pushed beyond their limits. Always check your car's towing rating before hooking up that trailer. Up next, habit 8 is something drivers do without even realizing, and it's silently eating away at your brakes. Hey, if you're still watching, chances are you care about keeping your car alive as long as possible. So do me a quick favor and hit that like button. It really helps more drivers like you find this video. And if you haven't already, subscribe, because the next few habits we're about to cover are ones almost every driver is guilty of. Things that seem harmless but quietly destroy your car from the inside out. Let's get into habit 8. And trust me, you might realize you've been doing this one every single day without even knowing it. Number 8. Resting your foot on the brake pedal. Many drivers don't realize it, but simply resting your foot on the brake pedal while driving is slowly destroying your braking system, and in automatics, it can also harm your transmission. Even the lightest touch on the pedal applies a small amount of pressure, creating constant friction between the pads and the rotors. That friction generates heat, which over time wears down the pads, causes the rotors to warp, and even boils the brake fluid. Once brake fluid overheats, it loses effectiveness, leaving you with weaker stopping power when you need it most. In automatic cars, this problem doubles. Because your car is designed to creep forward at idle, the engine and transmission are always pushing the car slightly ahead. If your foot rests on the brake, the system constantly fights itself, with the engine pushing forward and the brakes holding back. That not only burns out pads faster, but it also forces your transmission to work harder, shortening its lifespan. The warning signs are easy to miss at first. You might notice your brakes wearing out much faster than normal, or feel the pedal become soft after long drives in traffic. Sometimes you'll even smell a faint burning odor. By the time you notice, the damage is already underway. The solution is simple and free. Keep your foot off the brake unless you actually need to stop. Rest your foot flat on the floor instead of hovering over the pedal. It's a small adjustment that can save you hundreds on brake jobs and thousands on transmission repairs. Next up, 7. It's something almost everyone is guilty of at the gas station. Number 7. Driving on low fuel constantly. Plenty of drivers push their luck when the fuel light comes on, thinking they'll refill tomorrow. But driving on low fuel consistently is a hidden killer of automatic cars. Your car's fuel pump isn't just a delivery system. It depends on gasoline for cooling and lubrication. When you run close to empty, the pump draws in air instead of fuel, causing it to overheat and wear out faster. And replacing a fuel pump isn't cheap. You're looking at $400 to $800, sometimes more depending on the car. That's not the only problem. Over the years, dirt, rust, and debris settle at the bottom of your gas tank. When your fuel level drops too low, the pump begins sucking in that sediment, sending it straight into your fuel filter and injectors. Clogged injectors mean poor fuel delivery, rough idling, stalling, and reduced performance. In some cases, the engine may even misfire or fail to start. What started as stretching the tank becomes a long-term repair headache. The risks don't end there. Consistently running on low fuel also increases the chances of condensation forming inside the tank, which mixes water with gasoline and further damages the system. For automatics, which rely on consistent fuel pressure for smooth performance, this is especially destructive. The best practice is simple. Don't let your tank drop below a quarter full. Keeping enough fuel in the system ensures your pump stays cool, debris stays at the bottom of the tank, and your car runs smoothly without unnecessary stress. It's one of the easiest ways to extend your car's life and avoid costly repairs, all by topping up a little sooner. Next up is habit 6, a mistake that's even sneakier because it doesn't show damage right away, but when it hits your wallet like a hammer. Number 6. Skipping regular fluid changes. Fluids are the lifeblood of your car, yet they're also the most ignored part of maintenance. Most drivers remember to change their engine oil, but when it comes to the other fluids, transmission, coolant, brake, even power steering, they often get ignored. And here's the harsh truth. Skipping these regular fluid changes is one of the fastest ways to shorten the life of your automatic car. Take transmission fluid, for example. In automatics, fresh fluid keeps everything cool and lubricated, allowing smooth gear changes. But over time, it breaks down under heat and friction, losing viscosity and turning into dirty sludge. Once that happens, gears start to slip, shift delays appear, and the transmission begins wearing itself down. The fix? A simple $150 fluid change. The consequence, if ignored? A $3,000 to $5,000 rebuild. Coolant is no different. Old coolant can't regulate temperature effectively, which means your engine risks overheating and blowing a head gasket, a repair that can easily run into thousands. Neglected brake fluid absorbs moisture, reducing stopping power and corroding internal parts, while old power steering fluid thickens and kills pumps. The biggest problem is that drivers don't notice the damage until it's too late. Fluids degrade gradually, and by the time symptoms show up, the wear has already been done. The cheapest way to protect your car? Follow the maintenance schedule in your manual and swap fluids before they fail. A few small bills now save you massive bills later. And speaking of early wear, habit 5 is something drivers do almost every cold morning, not realizing it's tearing their engine apart. Quick pause here. If you've been nodding along because you've caught yourself doing some of these, don't worry, you're not alone. Most drivers are guilty of at least a few. But here's the deal. Knowing about them now means you can actually save your car before it's too late. So if you're finding this helpful, hit that like button. It really does help the channel and tells me to make more videos like this. And don't forget to subscribe, because the last few habits we're about to cover are the ones that cause the most expensive damage, and almost nobody talks about them. All right, let's jump into habit 5. As this is a cold morning mistake that could be costing you thousands without you even realizing it. Number 5. Accelerating hard when the engine is cold. Picture this. It's a chilly morning. You start your car, throw it in drive, and immediately slam on the gas to beat traffic. Sounds familiar? Most drivers do this, but it's one of the fastest ways to kill your engine, especially in an automatic. Here's the science. When you start your car cold, the oil inside hasn't fully circulated yet. Oil is thicker when it's cold, and it takes a few minutes of idling and light driving to thin out and coat all the moving parts. When you floor the gas, before that happens, your pistons, crankshaft, and transmission are grinding under heavy stress without full protection. Think of it like sprinting the second you wake up, before your muscles are even warmed up. The risk of strain and injury skyrockets. Over time, this habit causes premature engine wear, poor fuel efficiency, and even transmission damage. You might notice sluggish acceleration, harder gear changes, or unusual noises, all signs of wear stacking up. Worst case, you blow a head gasket or crack a component that costs thousands to replace. The fix is ridiculously simple. When starting your car in the morning, let it run for 30 to 60 seconds, then drive gently for the first few minutes. That gives oil and transmission fluid enough time to circulate and warm up. Treat your car like an athlete. Give it a proper warm-up before asking it to perform. Your wallet and your engine will thank you. And speaking of heat, habit 4 is all about something drivers do on steep roads that literally burns your car alive. Number 4. Riding the brakes on downhills. Imagine you're driving down a steep hill. The car picks up speed, and your first instinct? Hold your foot on the brake the entire way down. It feels safe, but it's one of the most dangerous habits for your car and your life. Here's why. Constant braking on long descents creates massive heat. Brake pads press against the rotors, and when held for too long, they overheat. Overheated pads lose their grip, rotors warp, and brake fluid begins to boil. Once brake fluid boils, your brakes fade. You press the pedal, and it feels soft, with little stopping power. That's called brake fade, and it's a terrifying feeling when your car is barreling downhill with no way to stop. It doesn't end there. Automatic cars already use engine braking less efficiently than manuals, so when you ride the brakes, your transmission doesn't get a chance to help. The result? Pads wear out twice as fast, rotors crack, and your repair bill climbs quickly. The fix is simple, but often overlooked. Use engine braking. Shift to a lower gear before heading downhill, and apply brakes in short, firm bursts instead of a constant press. This gives your brakes time to cool between uses and lets the engine share the load. So next time you're descending a long slope, resist the urge to keep your foot planted on the pedal. Because, habit 3, it's a traffic light trick many drivers think saves wear, but actually destroys their transmission over time. Number 3. Using neutral at red lights. Many drivers believe slipping their automatic car into neutral at every red light is helping the transmission. The logic is simple. If the car isn't in drive, I'm saving wear and maybe even fuel. But this is one of those myths that does more harm than good. Here's why. Automatic transmissions are designed to idle in drive. It's literally what they're engineered to do. Leaving the car in drive at a stop keeps fluid circulating properly, cooling and lubricating the system. But when you shift into neutral and then back into drive when the light changes, you force the transmission to disengage and re-engage unnecessarily. This creates extra stress on the clutch packs, gear sets, and hydraulics. Over time, this constant cycling wears out components prematurely, leading to rough shifts, slipping gears, and costly repairs. What about fuel savings? In modern cars, it's practically zero. Automatics today are built to idle efficiently, so the difference is too small to matter. The supposed benefit simply doesn't exist. There's also the issue of safety. If you're in neutral, you've got a delay before you can react. Imagine a car running a red light or someone swerving towards you while you're fumbling to shift back into drive. Those seconds could cost you your car or, sadly, your life. The correct habit is simple. When you stop at a light, leave it in drive and keep your foot on the brake. Your car was built to handle it, and you'll avoid unnecessary transmission wear. Neutral is for parking or emergencies, not everyday stoplights. Next, habit number 2 is even worse because it doesn't just cause wear. It can literally break your transmission in a single moment. Number 2. Shifting to park before a complete stop. It's one of those habits almost every driver has done without even thinking. You're pulling into a parking space, the car is still rolling forward just a little, and instead of stopping fully, you slam the shifter straight into park. You might even hear that sharp clunk or crack sound when you do it. Most people shrug it off as normal. But the truth is, that noise is your transmission screaming in pain, and this single habit can cause damage far worse than you realize. Here's what's really happening under the hood. Inside your automatic transmission is a small but incredibly important part called the parking pawl. It's basically a steel pin designed to slide into place and lock the gears when the car is completely stationary. Its one job is to stop the car from rolling once you're already at a standstill. What it's not designed to do is stop a moving vehicle. When you shift into park while the wheels are still turning, that pawl is forced to jam into a set of spinning gears. Imagine trying to shove a heavy padlock into a moving bike chain. The chain keeps spinning, the teeth grind against the lock, and something eventually bends or breaks. That's exactly what happens inside your transmission. Best case scenario, you scrape and wear down the edges of the pawl. Worst case, the pawl snaps, gear teeth chip, and you're left with a transmission that no longer locks correctly. The repair? Anywhere between $3,000 and $5,000 for a rebuild, sometimes more, depending on your car. Even if you get lucky and nothing breaks immediately, the repeated stress weakens the pawl over time. Sooner or later, it may fail when you least expect it. That's when you'll face an even scarier problem. You put the car in park, step out thinking it's secure, and it starts rolling away. On a slope, that's not just expensive, it's dangerous. The good news? Avoiding this mistake couldn't be simpler. Always bring your car to a complete stop using the brake pedal before shifting into park. And if you want to go the extra mile, use your handbrake, parking brake first, then shift into park. This relieves all the stress from the pawl, leaving it as a backup instead of the primary lock. It's a habit that takes literally 1 extra second, but it can save you thousands of dollars in transmission repairs and protect you from accidents caused by a runaway car. Respect your transmission. It's not meant to stop a moving vehicle, only to secure a parked one. Now, habit 1 is the sneakiest of all. Most drivers do it without even realizing, and it slowly destroys their gearbox from the inside out. Number 1. Resting your hand on the gear lever. This one feels harmless. You're cruising along, one hand on the wheel, the other lazily resting on the gear lever. Maybe it even feels comfortable, like you're in control. But here's the shocking truth. That tiny, casual habit is slowly destroying the heart of your transmission. Inside every automatic gear system are delicate linkages and bushings, mechanical parts that are engineered to move precisely when you shift. When you rest your hand on the lever, even with the slightest pressure, you're putting unnecessary force on those parts. That constant pressure, over thousands of miles, wears them down little by little. It's the automotive equivalent of constantly pulling on a door hinge. Eventually, it loosens, squeaks, and breaks. And here's where it gets worse. In some cars, especially older automatics, the lever is connected directly to selector forks that control the transmission gears. By resting your hand there, you're not just wearing out cheap plastic parts, you're stressing components that cost thousands to repair. Mechanics will tell you they've rebuilt transmissions where the driver's only crime was making this simple habit part of their daily routine. Now combine this with the fact that automatic transmissions are already one of the most expensive parts of your car to repair. Unlike brake pads or oil changes, you can't DIY a transmission rebuild. You're talking about bills that easily climb into the $3,000 to $5,000 range, sometimes more, and all because of something as silly as where you rest your hand while driving. There's also a safety angle. That gear lever isn't meant to be used like an armrest. Keeping one hand occupied there reduces your control of the steering wheel. In an emergency, that split-second delay in getting both hands back on the wheel can be the difference between avoiding an accident and ending up in one. So what's the fix? Easy. Keep both hands on the wheel where they belong. If you need to rest your arm, use the armrest that was designed for it. It's not just about comfort. It's about saving your gearbox, your safety, and thousands of dollars in repairs down the road. It may feel small, but this habit, more than any other, summarizes the whole point of this video. It's the little things, the unconscious daily actions that kill automatic cars long before their time. Break this one habit, and you're already giving your car a longer, healthier life. And now you've seen them all, from the obvious mistakes to the sneaky ones almost nobody talks about. But here's the real question. How many of these are you guilty of? So there you have it. 10 everyday habits that are slowly killing your automatic car. Some of them you probably knew, but I'm betting at least one of them surprised you. Be honest, how many are you guilty of? Drop your number in the comments below, and let's see who's brave enough to admit it. If this video saved you from even one expensive repair, make sure to hit that like button. It really helps the channel. And if you want to keep your car running longer, smarter, and cheaper, subscribe right now, because the next video we've got coming is all about the biggest car myths that are draining your wallet, and trust me, you don't want to miss that one. Thanks for watching, drive safe, and I'll see you in the next one.